And we should be live.
We should be. But are we?
Check. Yeah, of course we're live.
Of course we are.
There it goes. Merry Christmas, everybody. We went 3 minutes early, just for everybody who's in the room.
Just for you and you and you and you and you.
And William, too. Okay. No, William's in the room. Yeah, all right. Yeah, 1K for Kpro. Hint of Riches, we hit 1,000. Thank you, everybody. We're on the Cowlazars channel tonight because it's Thursday. It's coffee with Kpro and Cow.
Would have been.
Yeah, I can still go make
No, I can't have caffeine. You have diet or not diet? Decaffeinated.
I can look. I have tea. I don't know if it's decaffeinated.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. But Super Chat's on because YouTube lets us do those things. So if you guys could like the
video.
video.
And it's Ask Anything Thursday.
Ask Anything Thursday.
What happened?
Yeah, that's when I think I'm. So yeah, we're still in the Christmas spirit. It's not over until New Year's Eve, right? Everybody leaves their tree up. Right?
I sound horrible, but I'm better, so it's like it's Christmas because it's better. Woo-hoo.
People leave their tree up till the end of January. Some people.
So you know what I saw today? One of the best avatars. It's the elf guy going 364 days till Christmas.
Yeah.
So people are already counting it down.
What do you want me to check? The tea?
Right? No. You don't have to do two. No,
oh,
I have.
Okay.
I
It won't take long.
Hold on. What I have a Sprite because that's good for the throat. Okay.
So we hope everybody had a good Christmas. Let us know in the chat room how it went. Where's the chest? Jack says it's wherever Forrest left it. It's still there.
No, I'm thinking New Mexico more and more now, but we're going to talk about that tonight.
No audio problems, Rusty Nipples. Not this time.
And so those of you that did not notice, over on Hint of Riches, there is a 6-minute video, six and a half minute video. No audio issues of all of the clips so far that we have put out. And those of you that don't know, because some people have messaged me and said, I'm not really sure where these are coming from. We're putting together a documentary. These are the clips that we know might be of interest to you as a searcher, but might not be in the documentary. So we're going a little bit outside of protocol and we're giving some information early. Some people are not happy. We're not going to please everybody, but they want all of it out, unedited. You don't do that because this is for a project. And so those of you that would like to complain, keep complaining because I said to Mike, let's just stop doing this. And he's like, no, more people are happy than grumpy. So don't listen to the grumpies. So grumpies, I can't hear you.
Well, somebody on Facebook asked, what is it, secret? And I said, no, put it's top secret and you'll never know the answer. Just to drive people crazy. Lord Donlop says, what's the best statement from Forrest Fenn from the documentary? The best statement is subjective. Wait, I think the word that's key is in the poem was huge. To me, that's the biggest. Probably think something else.
Okay, so here is my answer. The quotes that we got that were related to the themes that we are hitting within the documentary that I don't think are going to be huge for a searcher were the biggest thing for me because that was the ultimate goal and that was the ultimate reason that we did this interview. So I will say for me, there was a whole theme that both Forrest and Douglas gave a huge amount of quotes and insight on that I think our search community would go, oh, kind of interesting, but not like this. But for the ones interested with the searchers, I think the New Mexico one is interesting. And we're going to talk more about that tonight. And
we haven't even showed any of when Forrest and Douglas were together. So maybe we'll do that on Monday. We'll show a new clip on Monday.
You know what?
We got to decide.
Forrest told us, here's one that I think is more interesting just to know Forrest.
Okay.
The most precious item he owns out of anything he's ever owned. Remember when he talked about that?
Yeah. We can show that.
I was amazed. I was surprised. Would you have said that would have been it?
No.
No way.
I would have thought it would have still been his arrowhead, but it sounds like it may have transitioned to something else. So we'll show that clip on the Hint of Riches Monday night.
But it's well, maybe not that one. I'm just saying that there was some interesting tidbits that story. He's just a storyteller. So
Covert One says the arrowhead. Davio, Tom Sawyer, Copper Dan, Bertha Chacon, Jay Minnesota, JK Pioneer says, hey y'all. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Brad Jones, Tony Rusi, Hooley, Boxhound, Rudy Green.
So Tom Sawyer asked a good question.
Yeah.
How does Douglas know so much about the clues? So I asked him this question. I said, how many versions of, or he said he's seen previous versions of the poem. We asked how many. He said a few. We were dancing. But the question that came up is, So you gave Forrest feedback that it was too easy and he needed to make it harder. Don't you have to know the?
I don't know. Or
Boom, I brought it.
could it have been too easy because it gave away the state? In other words, Forrest looked at it.
That means
Douglas looked at it and went, "Oh, I know what state it's in." So maybe that's what he meant by it. Just thinking off the top of my head.
So, but there was a lot of discussion on what do you know, what information, you know, that sort of thing. Because I personally am one that believes Douglas. Or we did talk about his boots on the ground. So there's a whole story behind Douglas has been boots on the ground.
We got him to admit it.
Yes, we did. I was ready with the picture,
with the proof,
in case he
bust
did.
him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but he didn't. He just came forward and talked about it and gave us the whole story. And is that actually doing that on?
Yeah, it's if we move forward.
No, it's only doing it on there. It's not doing it on here though.
Oh well, good. No, it is. Look, it is.
Oh, it
Sorry
is.
about the focus. Not audio. Now it's focus issues. You just never know.
Yeah.
The House Husband Diary says, Cowlazars and Kpro, thanks for making this hunt more enjoyable. Well, you're welcome. We appreciate it.
And House Husband Diaries was at the Raleigh meetup.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I heard about the meetup. I did not know you were there.
We can barely hear Kpro. That's probably a good thing. It's actually my voice more than anything else. So my voice is not great.
Laura Dunlap says, what was Douglas's search state if he did go on a search? And do you remember? Because I'm not.
Yeah, New Mexico.
It wasn't. He did go to New Mexico. I remember the reason why he went. I just didn't remember the state. So he was in New Mexico, everybody. Tony Rusi says, Kpro, you are not too loud.
Not tonight, and I'm not going to yell, and we don't need to adjust anything because we're right here. We don't have to adjust. And this is it, guys. I'm getting on a plane, me and Dpro is now down for the count. He says he might be able to come over, but he's kind of hurting right now. And now he's gotten
Sick.
What I had, that everybody, you know, my daughter had, everybody's had it. So at this point, we're getting on a plane.
Yeah, time. The party's over. So I'm going to sleep all weekend and take down the tree and clean up around here.
Yeah.
Copper Dan says you sound and look better.
I feel 1,000 times better. I'm not anywhere near 100%. This is going to be like down in the system for a while, but God, what a difference once the fever breaks, and I feel 1,000 times better.
Laddie Addy says the real treasure is in New Mexico. I'm 99.9% sure.
Yes.
All right, smiley face.
Yes. Okay, so as you guys come up with questions, I want to go over, even though I was down for the count, I said, Mike, let's at least get the quote out. So we got a quote out. We haven't fully discussed all the quotes. So there's 2 things I want to discuss tonight. There's actually 3 of the quotes that I want to discuss tonight. We do want to talk about a marathon. We said once we hit 1,000 over on Hint of Riches, we would have a marathon.
And we did hit 1,000.
Thank you, everybody
that hit subscribe.
So we want to do it sometime in late January. So do you guys usually we do it on a Saturday. Oh, we need
Yeah. So for me, what works is...
So we're going to throw out a couple dates.
January.
Tom Sawyer, yes, he definitely searched in New Mexico.
January 11th or January 25th? It isn't January 20th, so never mind. January 11th or Saturday, January 11th or Saturday, January 25th. Which one of those 2 dates would work for a Forrest Fenn discussion marathon? 12 hours. We'll be showing video clips never before seen. We'll be taking phone calls. It should be an interesting marathon. I think it'll be better than the other marathons that we've.
Because we're going to have new clips. We're going to have people talking about the existing clips. We'd like to invite some new people on.
On the panel, yeah.
Yeah, like phone calls. Some YouTubers have had some interest in trying to collaborate. This is a perfect time for that.
Bertha and Jay Minnesota say the 11th, please. That's 2 votes for the 11th.
Okay.
All right.
And not that I don't want my birthday weekend to be 12 hours of work.
That is? No, wait. Oh, that would be the next one. So the 11th works.
The 20, yeah, the 11th.
Yeah, so I think we just decided it's going to be January 11th, everybody.
Okay. So, I can't do it on the 25th. I know I can't do it
Good.
on the 25th.
So January 11th is the Forrest Fenn Marathon on the Hint of Riches YouTube channel, everybody. We got that figured out.
Okay.
And then just a month later is what? In February? The World Series of Fenn. We hope you guys are going to come.
No. It's
go ahead.
World Series of Fenn.
As your voice cracks.
Cracking.
Yeah.
That's it.
So that's February 15th?
February 14th, 15th, which is Valentine's Day, which is President's Day weekend, long weekend. Come hang out with us. Go to a poker tournament. Have some fun.
Just come by and say hi. You don't have to play poker. So
greatest thing.
The weekend of February 15th, Bally's Casino and Hotel in Las Vegas. We hope to see a lot of you there.
Yep. So we're excited. Okay, so let's talk about the clip that we put out.
New one.
New Mexico being overlooked.
Right. And somebody posted about it earlier. So.
Yeah, so basically what Forrest has said in this clip, and you need to go listen to it, but it's, I asked the question of how many searchers are there, and he did a lot of analysis, and then he gets into, but there's more people searching in New Mexico, but it's also the most overlooked. He says later it's the most overlooked of the search states. People are focusing on northern Colorado and Wyoming and Montana, but they're overlooking New Mexico. Now, some people up on the forums are saying it was a play on words. He's saying overlooked, meaning too many people. I don't think so. I think the guy's more literal than everybody's saying. He was just talking. What do you say?
I would really have to rewatch it. Like, we had somebody contact us and say, didn't he say this one word? And we were like, no, it doesn't sound like he said that one. There,
yes, it was the.
Yeah, the versus there. I would really have to rewatch it kind of slowly. I'm not sure what to make. To tell you the truth.
No.
It's interesting. He says a lot of people overlook New Mexico. I mean, that just by itself isn't. Because what if he's talking about us? Because we're not in New Mexico
and
anymore.
Who was sitting in the room?
And Cynthia's not in New Mexico
Cynthia
anymore.
was sitting in the room. Was
right.
he talking to Cynthia? Did he look at Cynthia? She was over to the right. Was he looking that way?
He went, and a lot of people overlook New Mexico. That would have been pretty fun.
Some people are looking in Wyoming and Montana.
Get back in the box. Maybe that means New Mexico. I think it's interesting, and I am glad that we were able to provide the video for everybody to make their own decision. Yeah. Sin City Searcher says, I watched it several times. It really looks like he just got confused what he was saying and mixed up what he was saying. Maybe, but I don't know. Forrest kind of stops and thinks about what he says before he says it.
He says he's 5 steps ahead, and he always seemed to be. Like he got you on that one.
And Sin City Searcher, we better see you at the World Series of Fenn since you're in Sin City. Can you search in New Mexico now in the winter? I personally would not, but I don't know as far as snow conditions if it actually goes like up by the Rio de los Pinos.
Rio de los Pinos.
Yeah, is Toby watching? I don't know the answer to that, Ord. I would talk to somebody like Tom Hardy or somebody who lives in New Mexico. Cynthia, Toby, Shelley. Hey, that'd be a good question for AGK.
Yeah, and a lot of people are talking, like Joel is, about the I reference, EYE.
Joel.
I'm totally missing what your guys are saying.
Another I reference, overlook. You mean like look with your eyes?
Oh,
but what was overlooked New Mexico, meaning a tie into eyes? That sounds like a Jingle Bell Rock clue.
What's wrong with the possibility of the obvious childhood contentment with Forrest and the Madison River? Kiwi Road, here is what I have to say about that. Okay, and Joel, okay, if I overstep a private conversation, I'm sorry about this, but I'm going to say it anyway. So, TTOTC, I think, really heavily discusses Yellowstone. And I don't think there's a lot of secrets there. I think he's been open about his time in the Cody board of directors, etc. I think he's talked a lot about military time. He's put stuff in the Library of Congress. He has audio out. He has a lot of information out of his military and my war for me and TTOTC. Where is the most mysterious of backstory that we don't have about Forrest? I feel it's a Santa Fe time. Like BIP. Do we know a lot about BIP? Do we know a lot about all of his dealings? We know a little bit about his dealings. But in TTOTC, do we know a lot about?
I don't know. I mean, we don't know what we don't know. So you could say he didn't put that in the Thrill of the Chase. Well, maybe. I don't know. He decided to put in, what was it? Biddies, right? He decided to put that in a chapter for some reason. Why didn't he put about what he was doing in New Mexico?
Ooh, sure. I have an answer to this, but he's asking you first. William asked, do you think there's going to be a Feb 4 update this year?
Forrest said he was stepping away, so I don't know.
But Jenny just put up on Facebook somewhere, I just read today, though Forrest might not do a 6 questions on February 4th, he might do 4, 5, or 7. What questions do we have?
Oh, so he'll still do something.
So it sounds like, and she said no promises. So it sounds like he's planning to do something. And I asked him the question, like, you keep saying you're stepping away and you're not. Why? And you've re-engaged. And he admitted.
Did he respond?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That one's going to be used in the documentary.
Oh. Well.
Yeah, so that one you won't see for a little.
Denise Bagley, I went back a little bit, says, I was wanting to know what people think about Forrest saying something could end it. He didn't say it would be over when someone found it. It was in one of the new video releases. In other words, I think he said, you posed the question, what happens after you pass away? And he says it'll go on until somebody ends it. To me, that's the same thing, Denise. When somebody finds it is what's going to end it, because people will stop looking. So I know he didn't use the exact words of when somebody finds it, but I think that's what he meant. It's over. It ends when somebody finds the treasure.
Yeah, but then he did get into the nuance, and I liked what he said, and I want to talk about that later. And there is something, and it's significant to the story. Mm-hmm. There's a story here. He did not, in my opinion, he did not just put a treasure out there so we get back from behind our texting machine. I believe he has a story to tell. There's a story, there's an autobiography, there's a story in there. There's something in that treasure box that is going to make something go, that's going to make him legendary for...
And it's different than the golden jewels that we know about.
Yes.
Because people have said two things that people are really going to like. One thing he's never talked about. That's what I think it relates to, for sure. So that could be what ends it, Denise. It may be finding the chest, but also that one thing, whatever you do with that one thing. That's right. That could end it. So yeah, I guess maybe if you meant it that way, then yes, I could see that. Tony Rusi. Oh, you just said, what is Forrest thinking about when he says people are not thinking about the one thing? Well, could that be the one thing that's significant? The story? Or could that be something else? I don't know. He says a deep thinking treasure searcher using logic could determine one important possibility. To the winning solve, I believe is how that ends. I wish it was me that could determine what it is using logic. I'm just not sure. I mean, we have more information now going into year 10 than we ever did, right? And I know people are going to say all you need is the poem. That's true. But we have all this ancillary information of, things that he said over the last 10 years. And that's really the video we should make, is where are we 10 years later? I mean, a YouTube video. And just go, this is what we know. These are things he said from when it came out until 10 years later.
But what we consider significant, other wouldn't.
That's true. That's very true.
And you take things like when someone dies or a major news article, all of that. That would be a major project.
Bob Ord says, has anyone solved the poem? Didn't Forrest answer that in the documentary? Did he answer that?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Oh, I can't. All right.
No, that one is going to be documentary. So that one, you're going to have to wait a little while for that one. But he sure did answer that.
Laura Dunlop says it seems like the finder will become part of the story. Maybe. Yeah, wouldn't that be interesting?
I agree. And I think this is just a guess of mine. I think Forrest has already presupposed the type of person that is going to find it. Mm-hmm. And so he wants them as a part of the story, even though he doesn't know who it is. So.
Pretty sure the treasure's in Egypt. Evelyn Curie. Is that Egypt, New Mexico? Oh. All right. There is a Las Vegas, New Mexico. I took a shot at there. Yeah. What was opening Pandora's box all about?
I know.
I just thought of the quote we really need to show, but I'm not going to talk about it. But we will show it during the marathon. I'll get Kpro to play it. That opening Pandora's box is not what we talked about, but it reminded me of something else.
Write it down. Yeah. Just the pattern. Right. Okay. Only a few searchers are in tight focus. I know, with a word that is key. And we gave you the word that is key one, so that right neatly. I don't know what that says. Okay.
I can't remember the exact term he used.
Presuppose the type of person that will find it. Joel Lewicki, how can we presuppose the type of person that will find it? Person has to persevere through all this, has to be an adventurer, has to. I don't know. If I knew these answers, I would have a big old treasure box full of stuff.
Google Pandora's box. It's not a box originally. Isn't it paradox? Like you open it and it's a paradox or something? You're right. I'll have to Google it.
Yeah, Kiwi Road Forrest did say the keyword is contentment. And I think what he has said is the keyword of life is to be content or contentment. He is quoted in saying that. But he's quoted in saying there's a keyword in the poem that we need to focus on.
There's a word that is key. That's different than saying keyword, in my opinion. But he's also said imagination is key. He says that in the Thrill of the Chase.
Circles forever.
And those two things are true, contentment and imagination. But when it comes to finding the treasure chest, there's a word in the poem that will help you more than the other.
Scott Conway's asking, why is it that I'm the only hunter with the story? Scott, you're not. You're the only one that thinks you have the story. And actually, we talked to Forrest about that.
That one too.
There is so many that are overconfident, and there's so many that think they're the one. There's so many that think they're the lead searcher. There's so many that think they have solved it. And we talked to Forrest about that phenomenon, and he thought it was very basic. I still find it intriguing that there's so many. Even though he said there's no lead searcher, people are still saying, I'm the lead searcher. Forrest Fenn said no. Well, so anyway, I just think that's funny. Okay, so let's talk about...
And I'll just say, Brad Jones says, too many people try to read FF's actions. He's repeatedly said the poem and a good map is all you need. If he is gone before the chest is found, then that's all we'll have to go by. So in my opinion, it's the basics. Go back to the basics.
We have something else to go by. We just don't know what it is. It's important to the story, though.
Well, that might be something that's in the treasure chest. Important to the story, but maybe not important to finding it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Godelkin, how you doing? It says, I think it hasn't been solved because it takes one more step to complete it. That could be.
Did Douglas ever share where in New Mexico he searched? I'm curious his take on the poem. Laura Dunlap, yes. And he actually shared a picture up on his Facebook page. If you go up on Thor and you put in lead searcher Douglas Preston, there is a picture that my old search partner, Follow Me Down, he posted off of his Facebook page back in 2014. It is near Lake Heron. I forget exactly where it was, but there is a picture at his WWWH with a dog and a woman. And so I had the picture with me just in case Douglas was going to say no. But yeah, so yeah, he did say, I know the general area, I just don't know much else about it except for that. So, okay. So I want to talk first.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, not important. It says, have them write down there is no lead searcher. My closed captions say define lead surgeon when you asked if there was a lead surgeon. I think he's making a joke. Forrest heard it correctly. I was in the room.
Okay, so I want to talk. Here's something I want to talk about. So we heard Forrest say, where do you start this? Where do you start solving the poem? And you can correct me. I'm summarizing. Mm-hmm. He says you get in your car in your driveway and you drive to WWWH, right?
Yeah. What he said is you get in your car and you drive to the first clue. I think that's.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
and
then,
Doug, I'll ask that when Kpro's done.
So then in the People magazine, he says, he has a large quote, but the quote, let me give you the exact Rud. Says, no. I can tell you an 80-year-old man is not going to make a trip into a canyon, then come up and go down again. So
I can tell you. Well, what was does it have the question? No, it does not have the question.
Well,
okay.
It's a very
okay.
It's a very large answer. He gives a lot of different answers.
He's talking about the people that have either been injured or have lost their lives.
Right. And
part of his answer is, read it again.
I can tell you an 80-year-old man is not going to make a trip into a canyon, then come up and go down again. Because
Forrest made 2 trips. And this is on Terry Scant. This is not part of the interview we did. Kpro got this off Terry Scant.
Correct.
So what does that mean to you when Forrest says, I'm not going to go down in a canyon and then come back up again twice?
That means, to me, you're parking at WWWH for some reason, and then you are not walking the canyon. You are going either a different way, or now you're driving to a different set of locations.
So you think that confirms that not far but too far to walk means drive to the next clue. It's not walking from where Warm Waters halt. You get in the car and drive from there.
Oh, no car yet. Because it could be the canyon's this way, but then the canyon goes down and around, and then there's like a short track way.
So you're saying you don't walk down in the canyon, you drive. Is that what you...
No.
Oh.
I'm saying you don't. All I'm saying is you're not walking it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, but you don't know if you drive or some other means, but you don't walk
It's not as easy as I thought before by his previous quote from us.
Yeah.
Was you get a WWWH and you're walking the 9 clues and then you find it. This tells me no.
And Laura Dunlap put it together and says, so does that mean he drove past where Warm Waters halt and up to Home of Brown through a canyon? It's a possibility that that's what he means. What he just said is, I'm not walking down into a canyon twice. So maybe, I hope that would mean he doesn't mean for us to walk. We know we go down in the canyon because it's a clue in the poem. Take it in the canyon down. Not far, but too far to walk. Put in below the Home of Brown. 2. You drive over there. You drive to the Home of Brown. So I think it's true.
If you're driving to WWWH.
That's what I get out of it.
So now you're not getting out of your car at 1. You're not getting out of your car at 2.
Well, you could you may have to get out of your car to verify the water is warm to know you have the correct
you go and tip your toe in it, you get back in your car.
Right. Right. But we're not walking. Is based on that quote, you're saying now you think that we do not walk to all 9 clues.
Now, I'm taking 2 things, I'm putting it together. So now I'm trying to figure out where to get out of your car. Is it right after, not far, but too far to walk? Put in below so home of Brown.
If I'm driving
that where we're getting out of our
along
car?
a road, especially if I'm going down in a canyon and somebody says put in up there, they mean park. I think it means park. I think put in below the home of Brown means park below the home of Brown.
Boom.
Just my opinion, everybody.
Well, but this is groundbreaking information.
Well,
we're
put
now
something
putting
together,
pieces together, and there are opinions, and we don't have the treasure chest, and we're not Forrest Fenn. I don't know if you know that.
Joel Dunn says maybe he's referencing driving past the canyon, not walking. Goodellkin says there is no walking needed to the canyon. Laura Dunlop says because put in seems like a signifier as the stop from begin it where warm waters halt. I agree. And
Brian Gates, there is no dipping your toe. Oh yes, there is. Oh yes.
And then walking among lions brings up a good point. Did Forrest take a different but shorter route? Did Forrest have to go the exact same route we do using all 9 clues, or is he able to bypass some clues, go directly to the location? That's a good question.
Well, okay. So
and I know it's on Terry Scan. He was asked that question, and I thought he said there's only one way. There's only one way.
Yes.
He said there's only one way. I would have to look up what the actual question posed to him was. But I know he said there's only one way that I know of.
What if WWWH is here, Canyon, and then it's here, and then all you have to do is go there?
But then, they're like walking among lines and saying all Forrest did was this. He didn't have to traverse right. So yeah, that's possible.
Here, let me show you guys my very technical.
See that?
Yeah. So do you start here, and you have to go all the way around? Oh, you guys know what I'm trying to do. Or can you just when he went to hit it, it's like here's 1, 2. You guys know what I'm trying to say.
So in other words, do the 9 clues from where warm waters halt? Maybe the blaze is within walking distance of where warm waters halt. But when we follow the clues, we have to go all the way around in kind of a semicircle. And you're almost like back where you started, where the blaze is. It's possible.
Not Important is saying, so very curious if anyone has seen previous versions of the poem. I have met 2 people, and I have had long conversations with 2 people that have.
Douglas and? Chip, who is Forrest Fenn's cousin up in Yellowstone.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to put it out there for everybody.
Yeah, and so Douglas talked about seeing several previous versions. It was in an interview, so it was very calculated conversation. Chip, I just happened to meet in a bar and found out he was Forrest's cousin and tried to buy him a drink. He doesn't drink, but we sat and chatted for about 4 hours. He got in trouble with his wife. I'm really sorry. Their food was there. It was cold by the end of the night. But he saw the previous one with the throw your bones for all to seek.
Leave the bones, take my chest, something like that. Yeah. We're not really sure. We hear different things from different people.
Yeah.
But I will say that one of the waiters or one of the people that worked at the, what was it called, the restaurant? Yellowstone?
Bullwinkles.
Bullwinkles. We talked about Forrest Fenn. We talked about Chip, and he said that he believes the treasure chest is located up in the area where Chip lives. Now, this is just somebody that works at Bullwinkles, but that's what he told us. Now, I don't know where Chip lives, but I'm assuming it's in the West Yellowstone area.
Right next to, his place is attached to, or he shares a border with I always say it wrong,
Parade Rest?
Parade Rest.
Oh, really? See, I didn't know that. Okay, but that's what the guy said. He goes, Chip and me think it's up in that area.
I went to
Parade Rest. We should make that trip this summer. Let's go stay at Parade Rest. Like
Except the treasure chest.
Yeah, right. Well, it may be. You never know.
Yeah.
Could there... Okay, here's one from Walking Among Lions. Could be there's only one legal way into the canyon, but Forrest took another legal way that would be illegal for us. In other words, Forrest just did it to do it, but we've got to do a legally go a roundabout way. That's a possibility.
Or you have to rent for a day. Remember that whole rental thing he said?
Yeah. If you rent a cabin for the day,
we so need to share that.
Who owns the property? Do I own it for the 24 hours? Things like that.
There's that's one that we have to share and talk about.
And Brad Jones says, no way to circle back if you take the canyon down. I think it was Man Alone in one of his videos said, isn't it interesting that it says you take the canyon down, but nowhere in the poem does it say you go back up? And that's true. It says take it in the canyon down, but later on he doesn't say go back up to get out of there. It just says take it in the canyon down.
No, it says take it and go in peace.
Right, but it doesn't say go back up. He was just pointing out that you're taking it down in the canyon later on in the poem. It doesn't say get back in your car. It doesn't say I understand.
Go to the bank.
I understand. He was just making that point. That nowhere does it say get up to get back out.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there.
Paddle back up your creek.
There's no paddle up your. Oh, there's the up. There you go. Possibly. There's a lot of parallels in the poem, right? If I had the poem in front of me,
what do you need?
Like there's a begin and cease and canyon down, up your creek. There's a lot of this and then that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying right now. I had thought by the previous quote, it was you're parking at WWWH and you're going to pick it up. I am questioning that now because if you add these two together, you're getting back in your car, and it's probably because of not far but too far to walk is more than just an analogy. There's something more there, and you're back in your car. So maybe it put in, maybe Homer Brown. I don't know. It's somewhere. There you go.
So KJ says, how can the creek be yours? There'll be no paddle up your creek. Why didn't Forrest say there'll be no paddle up the creek?
I'm going to give a shout out to Illinois Ghost. Illinois Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
He did a video on, depending on where the water line is, under a certain water line or over. I remember it. It's basically public.
Oh yeah, somebody was saying if there's water in a canyon, below the water is public, but above is whoever owns the land doesn't own the water and the water bed. I don't know. I've never heard that.
Yes, it's something. So maybe there's ownership a nuance
rules.
there.
Yeah,
yes,
ownership rules.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and there's a whole thing on about ownership. When we get into that, you know what? We're going to, okay, hold on.
Gallatin Ghost says there's a lot of opposites in the poem. And thank you, because you articulated what I was trying to say about a minute ago. There are a lot of opposites in the poem. Tom Sawyer says, Kpro, this is one of your best shows.
Maybe because I'm still sick.
Then so Denise Bagley says it's up your creek.
Okay, so we talked about that one. Let's talk about the next one that we haven't had a lot of time to talk about.
Okay.
So we asked the question of I asked the question and I wasn't disrespectful. Forrest understands that he is going to die one day. So when I asked him what happens after you pass, it wasn't as disrespectful. It was as a reality of the situation that we have.
That's a
he
fair
is also
question.
Not 22. He's lived all. And so I think it's a very fair question. His answer was, is there a way that we're going to know? And he stopped. This was one of two times that he stopped himself and said, no, there is a way, but it's important to the story and it's up to the.
That's huge. That could also be what Douglas Preston said when I've heard something I've never heard Forrest say before. That if I heard that right, we said, what happens after you pass? While you're alive, you verify the treasure has been found or not. And he says, yeah, there's problems. And he kind of laughs and he says, that's not true, what you just said. There is a way, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. Did Forrest just say, after I'm gone, there is a way that everyone will know when the treasure is found? And what could that be? He said nobody knows but him, so it's not like he's passing it on to a family member or to somebody else. I don't believe that, right? Do you believe that or no? I think Forrest even told us, I'm the only person who knows where it is. But he's always said that. That's nothing new. So when he passes away, the location goes with him. There has to be something in that chest that makes the finder do something that it would be front page news that everybody would know.
And
right?
I think they have to
in order to claim it.
No, I think they'll have it, but there's something in there, so they don't own the rights to the autobiography.
His family does.
His family does, and there's something in there that only the finder would know.
I look at it like this. I find the treasure chest. I found the blaze. I look quickly down. There's the treasure chest. I open it. All the jewels and all the artifacts, that's mine. I can just take those and never tell a soul. But the one important item that he's never talked about, that's either worth more than all the other contents together, or it's so huge, it's such a discovery. When Forrest says the type of person that finds it won't be able to keep it quiet, he's talking about that item, that thing. Somebody could just take all the contents.
I don't think it's a thing. I think it's a story.
Well, whatever it is, I think it's huge. I think it's bigger than the contents. It's bigger than the 265 gold coins and all the rest of it.
Because think about if one of Forrest's friends that has hundreds of millions of dollars, and he has some friends that are at that level. What if they found this? They're not going to care about the $2 million of jewels. They want that story. I think that person will even come forward. I think he knows whoever has it is going to come forward. So after Forrest passes, when we hear someone say, I found it, and they have a picture of a coin, that's not it. I think he has just said, unless there is something that make us all go, oh, how clever.
Right.
It's not it.
Right.
So I think that's what he just confirmed for us.
And when people say, I would sell the whole thing as it sits, it's Sotheby's or Christie's auction house, whatever it is, maybe there's a one item that's going to make you not do that. It's so important and so big to whatever this story is that you would not sell it like that. You would do whatever it is it tells you to do, and that would let everybody in the world know that you found it, but based on what he said, it would not let everybody know the location, would it?
No, because that's up to
He said that it's up to the finder. I just saying. Well, we can show it. We're going to show it, right? I just put that together, that whatever it is doesn't give away the location, because Forrest said that's up to the finder.
Have we talked about which ones are going to be in the
documentary?
documentary?
No, we have not talked about it yet. But me talking
Alan
about it is not the same as seeing it.
Alan is going to kill you.
Right.
There are certain things that wait for the documentary.
Access to a bank account, Joel Dunn says,
no,
with the $500K in large
what
bills.
What if someone has $200 million? What if, who's the richest?
Bill Gates or Bezos.
What if Bill Gates finds the treasure chest? Does he care about the $2 million? No, but there's something in there that he does. He's not going to care. Like, an extra $500K doesn't mean anything. Like, that's a tip for him. Like, that's not the reason that he would be doing this. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's something that anyone would be, because he's had, Donald Trump's doctor is looking for this. I'm sure that guy has plenty of money.
Ashton Kutcher. Right? He doesn't need that money. He doesn't need the gold, whatever. But there's something in there that's huge. All right.
Okay.
And the Moby Dickens treasure hunter, nice screen name, says in the Moby Dickens, he said he didn't have any conditions to the finder of the chest.
I don't think it's conditions.
Can't remember exactly how he phrased it.
Right, but I think it's basically, he said no proxy, that sort of thing. I don't think there's like a land title transition. I think there's something that will entice or...
The finder has a choice. It's not like you have to do this to get the contents. You have the contents, but there's something in there so big or so huge that you'll want to come out and let everybody know. That's what we think, right? Are we together on that?
Yes.
After talking to Forrest, that's what we're thinking at this point. Now, we don't know what that is, but...
So Michael O'Connell says something is written in Forrest's trust, and it goes to whoever found the chest. But here's the problem with that. Someone wrote his trust, and someone has seen his trust. So then they would know that piece. I don't think anybody knows that piece. I think his family's pretty open about the estate and all of that. So I think his family would know it, and I don't think his family knows it.
Okay, let's, in general, can you set something up that's worth a lot of money that's there after you die, that your family, nobody else knows about? I mean, can you set up a blind trust or something that...
Yeah, but
without a name, in other words, the finder of this. I don't know who it's going to be, but 10 years from now, when somebody, I don't know how legally how you set that up.
But a lawyer would have to set that up because it would have to be.
So it would be a law firm that's been around for 100 years, and it's going to be around another 100 years.
Well, even if the law firm's not around, because then it would go into, the next. That wouldn't matter as much as someone would have to legally set that up.
Okay.
Like if it's a living trust, they would have to set that up. That would have to be registered.
Okay.
Okay.
Kpro, how do you know Donald Trump's doctor is looking?
Forrest told me.
And he said that public. I thought there was an article there was a news article or newspaper article that talked about it.
We were talking about different, this was maybe 6 months ago, 8 months, I don't know, whenever I saw him before that. And we were talking about all the different famous people that we knew were searching. And you might have been there. I don't know.
Yeah,
one of the
I
visits.
don't know.
Yeah, but Forrest.
Walking Him Online says trust has to name the beneficiary within 21 years. I know that. That's interesting. Fidelkin, he could write a letter and for it not to be opened. Oh, I see. So this is only opened by the finder of the chest. Instructions of some kind. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Mike and Kpro each get to pick one thing in the chest. What would it be?
I know what you want.
Really?
You want the frog. So if anybody out there ever finds it, just send the frog to
and I'll
Kpro
give you the
anonymously.
backstory. My mom has passed, and my mom had a huge frog collection. and I got the huge frog collection, and they're not worth a lot. Like there's a jade one and a this one and that one, and so I collect frogs. I don't collect a lot of them now, but I want the frog because it's an ode to my mom.
I want the one thing he's never talked about because he said you're very really gonna like it. So while I don't know what it is, that's the one thing I want. But realistically, if somebody was to find it and say, Cowlazars, what would you want? I would just want 3 of the the double eagles, one for me, one for each of the boys. Yeah. Then your frog, you could get a coin. But yeah, without knowing what some of the other things are, probably 3 of the coins would be cool.
What's the best way to capitalize on the gold and the chest? There's a whole process to it. I can tell you, I think there's actually more monetary in the story, the book, all of that. I think it would go more intact than it would going piecemeal. That's my opinion. But the first step would absolutely to get a publicist. There's some people out there that I'm their person that's going to connect them with the right people. And it's kind of like Kim Kardashian's first baby picture. The first picture of the chest and the story that goes with it, and where you go and what TV show you go on. That is, I believe, a 7-figure deal right there. And then what you do after that, that's all gravy. But in my opinion, it would be selling it whole, but that is not where I think the story is. There's such a story to whatever's in that chest. That's a huge one. That's a book in itself. And then what the actual solve and that whole story, and then the mayhem that comes after that, the lawsuits that you know are going to happen, all of that, the mayhem.
Jack says, I've asked this before, but I want to see if your answer has changed. What are the chances the lead searcher is one of the 190 plus people in this room right now? What do you think?
Sorry, ask again.
He said, I want to see if your answer's changed. What are the chances the lead searcher is one of the 190 plus people in this room right now watching?
Probably.
There is no lead searcher, remember?
Oh,
he said the lead searcher. Yeah.
Lead searcher. No, because there is no lead searcher. But the person that'll ultimately find it, why not? Why can't it be someone that sits in chats? Or
I'd
one
love
of the
for somebody we all know by a screen name to be the one to find it. Yeah, that'd be great.
We have about 3,000 people that watch. We have 3,000 views on each of our shows within a week. I think it's one of those 3,000 people that. Do I think it's? I mean, some people say, "Oh, if you've met Forrest, you're further from the treasure chest." I don't think any of that. I personally think it's somebody that's going to be well invested, that knows, invested meaning knows the quotes, has studied the poem. Doesn't have to be heavily invested, like go out 300 times. It might be your second time. I do think it takes more than once, personally. And I just think it's somebody that I just don't judge. I think it could be a poor person. I think it could be a rich person. I think it could be a kid. I think it could be, I just think it could be anyone. And it's probably going to be, I do have to say, probably not the person the loudest and saying, I'm the one. I don't think that's the person that's probably, but that's.
Kiwis Road says, what has Forrest said or wrote that put an X on a map for you if you have one? So do you have an X on the map on where to look?
No, I'm bouncing right now.
Yeah, same with us. There's nothing Forrest has said in any of this that we went, oh, that means it's here. Other than the New Mexico comment.
I will say, WWWH is kind of what I hone in on, and I do believe it is warm water that you can tip your toe. I mean, it sounds silly. Everybody's like, oh, he got you. Yeah, he might have got me, but I actually believe in that one.
He said it to Scott
Conway in the room as well. So I do believe that it's warm water that you can actually touch and feel. So that's as much of an X as anything.
Elliot Morvay, that's a new name. Keyword Hooley, T Felds 37, Jack, Wildcatter's daughter, Davio. How you doing? Tony Rusi, the House Husband Diaries. Just saying hi to some of the people. Are you guys still in Montana? I'm thinking New Mexico. I mean, I haven't actually found a spot where I'm like, that's where warm water's hauled, me personally. But I want to look that on a little bit more in New Mexico.
See, I had not been in Montana. I was in Wyoming, and he said Montana on a show that I wasn't even aware. But Cynthia tried to partner up with him right in front of me, and she's in Montana.
Cynthia just wants to find it. She doesn't care who she's with. She just wants to find it.
Yeah, so I'm not far enough on any solve to say I caught something in Wyoming that I still think's really interesting, but I can't get it to that next step. And so now, because of all this, I'm looking. It's off season, so We're looking. But we're only going to probably make one big trip this summer.
Yeah.
So we have to decide on one search state.
Redneck Express has got a good one. He says, but he didn't release it publicly. Dip your toe in it. In other words, why hasn't Forrest come out and said that publicly when he said that to 3 different searches? He said it to you. He said it to Scott Conway, and he said it to one other person. Cynthia? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I think the dip your toe in it was only to tell those searchers that their solve was wrong. Not that this is what you need to do to find it. I think he was just trying to say, hey, that's why it's wrong. In other words, when somebody asks him, hey, this is where I'm at, he's like, well, did you dip your toe in it? It's not the right where warm waters halt. Well, now, he can't do that with everybody. He's not going to answer every email he gets.
Well, this is a great example. There was a shenanigan person up on Facebook that said, I got an email from Forrest, and it said...
The handicap thing, the wheelchair.
Yeah,
the wheelchair accessible.
Like, it has to be ADA compliant, wheelchair accessible.
Right.
And people asked me to go email Forrest, and I said, if people just made claims all the time and Forrest had to settle it, I'm not going to go to him, and none of us should go to him every time, because unless somebody comes up with proof, like Scott Conway, he showed his email. It was like, have you tipped your toe in it? And Scott sent an email back that said, here's my foot in the water. It's warm. And so actually, Kpro Dan, I don't know if he's in the room, Kpro Dan emailed Forrest and said, such and such, I won't say who it is, but I know who it is. Next time you post, you're going to hear from me. This person just claimed that you said it needs to be wheelchair accessible, ADA compliant. And Forrest responded to him, and he said, "I'm very sorry to bother you the day before Christmas."
Emailed Forrest and said,
and he said, "I would like to put it up on Facebook and settle this because a lot of people are
ADA
asking
compliant. What? I don't understand why somebody would think."
The answer came back. Forrest said, "I never said
that the spot is wheelchair accessible."
Right, but think about this: for everything that he either said, didn't say, gets invented by a searcher, if he had to start confirming or denying every single conversation, he would spend his entire time. People would have such shenanigans.
I think the reason Forrest doesn't publicly come out on Dale's blog and say, you have to be able to dip your toe in more warm waters halt and it has to be warm, is because to him it's obvious. To him, you were talking about your solve and he just said, well, did you dip your toe in it and is it warm? To him, it's just obvious that the poem says, begin at where warm waters halt. He was just having a conversation with his friend and was like, but you can't dip your toe in that. That's not where warm waters halt. To him, I don't think it's a big deal that he said that to certain people. Because to him, it's obvious. It says it right in the poem. Why should I have to come out and tell you what it says in the poem? What he did come out and say, where warm waters halt is not related to a dam, because that's not obvious. Everybody could think that by reading the poem. And he said to level the playing field. I had talked to some people through email, but to dip your toe in it, to him, I think it's obvious. He doesn't need to come out and tell everybody. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
Or he just likes Kpro.
No, I drive him crazy. It's like I drive. You guys have something in common. Okay, so and then there's let's see. We talked about the car in the driveway. We talked about this significant story, and we talked about the New Mexico being overlooked.
And then somebody, I forget who it was, but when we first showed the word that is key video, I said, Forrest, can I ask you one question? And then I asked him, do you still believe that their searchers should be in tight focus with the word that is key? And he says, yes. And he's about to say something else. And I said, can I ask another question? And the person was like, you didn't let him finish. He was about to say something else. I believe what he was about to say is exactly what he said. You said one question. In other words, that's it. I answered your one question. So even though I cut him off, I think he was going to say that before I even brought up the follow-up question. So I don't think I cut him off from important information.
Yeah. So. Well, and I've been getting tons of email of why didn't you ask this way or ask this way. For the project we were on, we got everything we needed. Yes, looking back, there could have been different questions, different ways. Why didn't you ask this or that? There are some things that people have said, why didn't you ask this? You just haven't seen all the clips yet. Yes, we'll get there. But we did our best. I mean, I was not supposed to be the interviewer. And actually the Mike and Cynthia one at the end, they weren't the interviewers, and we kind of did. And there were times that I asked a whole set of questions that he was like, I'm not answering, move on.
He said, I'm not going there.
You can lose
I think we should show some of those,
you can lose an entire interview that way.
Right.
And there's some reasons why.
We were sitting in the Tasuki Cafe, or whatever that restaurant is, Tasuki Cafe, I think it's called, at 9 a.m., trying to finalize the questions before he drove over to Douglas Preston's office.
Yeah.
But Elliot Morvay says, you guys totally butchered the keyword question, by the way. Same for the lead searcher. And that's okay. If you think that, that's fine. I tried to word it as best I could. Do you still believe there's a searcher should be in tight focus with a word that's key? He said yes. Then he wouldn't let me ask, is it in the poem? So then Cynthia came through and said, is the key word in the poem? Now, she changed it a little bit. I said word that's key. Cynthia said, is the key word in the poem? To me, it's the same thing. When Forrest answered it, thought about it, and said, there's a word that will help you more than the others, he's answering the question of the key word being in the poem. Some people say because he didn't actually use the word key that it's not, he meant something else. I don't think he's trying to deceive people like that or play word games. Yeah. He will think about your question of what you asked him and then answer it.
Yeah.
And then and it's in the poem. I wanted him to say the words, it's in the poem. And he did, which is awesome. To me, that was worth the entire trip that we made out there to do this. Just to get those words out of his mouth that, yes, there is a word in the poem that will help you more than the others. That's what I want.
And for me, it was the documentary project. Cynthia and Mike were like two little kids at the candy store. Once they got that one,
it was
they
like,
were like dancing around, and I'm like, okay, we're going to stay focused here.
And I understand when he said, what do you mean by lead searcher? Some people don't like your answer to that. Yeah. You could have said something like the person who has solved the most clues, or, there's different ways you could have went. But I think Forrest answered it in a general way. There is no lead searcher. Like, how would you know?
Right.
And that his answer applies to even if it was the person who solved the most clues. You're not going to know you solved the most clues unless you have the treasure chest. So I think his answer applies even if we would have worded it a little differently.
Holly asks, I'm going way back, does Jenny Kyle ask for questions for Feb 4? Yes, she does, up on her form. That's actually what I saw on Facebook today. So if you want to go to her Facebook page, she's asked people for different questions, and I already think there's like 8 pages of questions. That's the one that I was looking at. And there's Jack, my favorite lead. Thanks for doing for the. Oh, thank you, Redneck Express. He's thanking us.
That's kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
That's somebody's idea for the World Series. Sorry, we just got an email, everybody. Okay. Forrest started a wonderful community. Yes, he did, Aboard. Sometimes we have our differences, but you know what? We all come together.
This has been a pretty good off season. Like this has been a pretty usually it's a grumpy off season. There's new stuff. There was a bunch of new scrapbooks. I think a lot happening. So anyway, you can't be the lead searcher and the finder. Godelkin says that's an interesting. I have no idea what that means, but interesting.
Gallatin Ghost says define lead searcher. To me, that means there was something there. He just doesn't like the term lead searcher. Okay, maybe.
Oh, Doug, I am literally on a plane in 2 hours.
Yeah, no, the party's over.
By that much. So.
And here we are going live, even with Kpro sick. Me just a little bit, but she was really sick.
Yeah, I was so sick I could not have a beer or play poker. That tells you how sick I was. So, and actually, I put this on my Facebook page. You don't know how good of a guy you have until you're super sick. And he is out buying Vicks and cough drops.
Yeah, I made some runs.
And getting soup. And
I went to the one pharmacy that was open on Christmas. There were 18 people in line, and I just turned around and got some over-the-counter stuff.
He was a very sweet guy. And then my son got sick. We were both sick, and he was the runaround. I was thinking, we didn't want him alone on Christmas. We wanted him running to the pharmacy for Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
Thank
you for coming out. Yeah. Tony Russi says if Forrest would never mislead us, why was he saying more people are searching in Glacier National Park than anywhere else? Did he say that?
I think he said that, I want to say years ago.
Oh. Well, I don't think he's misleading us. I think at that time, maybe that's what he thought.
That's what I think.
Yeah,
that's what I think the explanation is. Yeah. I don't think he misleads, but I do have to say, I think he likes to pull our leg a little. Do you remember me asking the question, why are there misspellings and aberrations? Why do you put those in there?
Yeah.
Wait until you hear that one, guys.
Oh, I like the one are there hints in Once Upon a While? Remember?
Are there hints in the scrapbook?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
we're going to release all these. That's why we're going to get the marathon.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, and Laura Dunlop says, we mislead us, not Forrest Fenn. That's true, the way we take things.
He is tricky, not misleading. Sometimes he's just literal. I think if he said the sky is blue, we would all argue, what does he actually mean by sky? What color is blue? And what's the definition of is? I mean, we would really pick it apart.
I think the poem really is that simple. And when I say simple, I don't mean easy to solve, but taking the canyon down, literal. It's just a canyon and you're going down. Maybe you can't walk it. You have to drive.
And I think Terry Scant started that thought process
when he said
meant. Yeah. And then
get the chest and get the hell out of there. Yeah.
And that kind of solidified that. And now it's kind of, I don't know. I feel, this is going to sound silly, but I feel like I don't have an exact solve, but I feel like I understand the poem more than I ever have through this last 6 months.
Yeah, right. And that's why I say we're in the 10-year anniversary next year, and now we could do a video that says this is everything we know after the 10 years. And I think
everyone would argue, like you would put.
Everybody would argue it. Yeah, that's true. We would forget something and people would get upset. Yes. That's true. So real quick, we did get a package that came in and a box, and we weren't able to get it before Christmas. So this is what it is now. And it says, Happy Holidays from Cali Chaser. And we got some coffee. What is it? Oh, Yellowstone Buffalo Blend. Hope it's not Buffalo Droppings. All right. But it's already ground, which is good. So thank you, Cali Chaser. Yeah, thank you. I'll try this over the weekend. So yeah, that's awesome. Central America and Indonesia is the region. Bold and lively. Okay.
And 2 of you have sent packages for Dpro, and I'm hoping he's better by this weekend. And we are going to do a show, and maybe we'll ask him some of these questions.
Roasted in Bozeman, Montana since 1988. And shout out to AJ for sending the cookies. Those were left out for Santa Claus, and Santa Claus did eat a couple of them. And Dpro did capture Santa Claus's fingerprints. I don't know what
yeah, those of you that didn't know, he put the milk out, but he put some invisible ink. Invisible ink. So then
black light.
When Santa picked up he got and now he's like, I just need to take the fingerprint to the police, and I'll know who.
Put him through the database.
Here we go.
So Must Listen Good says, are you guys going to give your opinion on Doug Preston, something new that nobody has gotten before? For what we've released so far, what's your opinion on, or do you think we have not released it? What do you think Douglas Preston was?
I think my opinion is going to evolve over time, so I don't want to fully commit forever, but I will say when he stopped and then he said it's significant to the story about that's something new. That is definitely new, and that he stopped himself and changed it. I think it's one of those.
There could be a couple things, and we're not sure which one. I wonder if we would just email Douglas what he tell. What if we just straight up said, "Hey, remember you made that comment? What is it you were referring to?" Would you think he'd answer or no?
He was
I don't know. Because none of us asked him what it was, because he said, "I'm not going to tell you what it is." He said that in the interview, didn't he? I'm not going to tell you what it is.
And then that's when Forrest is like, "Thank you."
Yeah. So I guess he won't answer.
So we were waiting beforehand when he was brokering this deal. He's doing a book. I think it's okay to say, right?
Yeah, he's got a new book coming out.
He has a new book coming out.
Or he's working on a new book.
He's working on a new book, and the new book is about a treasure that's in the White Plains area.
A legend. The White Plains, Missile Sands, the base, the Army base. So he's got some kind of a book
and he was sitting there negotiating, and I'm sitting here with the bookshelves that just have so many. Yeah. He's obviously just world-renowned. And he was so down to earth. And he was so, humbled by Forrest. Forrest was humbled by him. It was just interesting to see their interaction.
Right.
And so I was so impressed by him, just because he was just a guy. And he was just fun to talk to.
Tony Rusi says Forrest would shoot him if he actually told us what he was referring to. That's pretty funny. And Elliot Morvay says, you guys are all over the place. Stick to the poem and Google Earth. It's not that complicated. I'm out. All right, Elliot, then go get it this summer.
Elliot, go get it. Try, and you know what? In 6 years from now, I think this is my, 5th or 6th year. Then you might want to talk about something else. You can
Steve says, bye. Yeah. We have the soundboard. I'm going to get some sound clips. That might be one of them. Yeah. Okay. Something else I got to work on this weekend.
Okay, so do we want to do a new clip on Monday?
Yeah, I have a couple candidates. I think that one could be interesting too, because it ties in with.
Okay, so, why don't we... Okay.
And I can't remember the term he used, but it's a legal term. Yeah, anyway, yes, we will show a no clip on Monday.
So I say for these 204 people watching, let's do the top... These will maybe be one of the top 3. The most prized possession.
Right.
He talks about the rental.
And that's related. What I'm talking about is in that quote. About if you rent a cabin... No, this one. Yes. He used... All right, I don't want to give it away, but he used a term that's very interesting.
Okay, just
when he talked about
rental cabin.
If I rent a cabin, who owns it for the 24 hours? Do I own the land? Do I own the bed? that kind of stuff.
And then he talked about
wait a minute. There we go.
And then he talked about the importance of the nouns.
Yes, he talked about nouns being
So those
important.
are 3. So out of those 3 for Monday, because we are...
Oh, you're going to let them vote?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. You guys get the vote.
So prize possession, rental cabin, or noun.
For
Nouns
me,
in the poem.
I'm going to say rental cabin is the one you guys are going to want to hear. But that's just, Paradise... No, it's just my opinion. You guys may hear it and go, well, that doesn't help. And I'm not saying it helps. I'm just saying
for those of you that are already disgusted and leaving because we're not talking about the poem, the nouns in the poem is what he's talking about.
Right.
So and then the most prized possession was probably the biggest aha of the. I mean, that was such a surprise. That was the coolest story of the whole time.
It is. The only thing is, it doesn't have anything to do with the treasure chest. That's all. It's interesting to Forrest, but it doesn't really.
Yes.
You guys vote on what year you're getting some already. Email Kpro3 at AOL.com.
Oh, no, you don't.
And tell her which one you should play.
Oh, no, you don't. Okay.
Or maybe we play all 3 on the marathon. Whichever one
Monday.
we don't play. Yeah, Monday we're going to play one of them for sure on Monday. Denise Bagley says most prized possession. Michael O'Connell says rental cabin.
Okay, I'm going to be...
Bertha Chacon says rental. Treasure Hunter says prize. Oh, sorry.
Prize.
I will let you guys know that Chaseopoly is still available. I've got so many games laying around here.
Okay. Rental cabin.
For those of you that have gotten Chaseopoly in the mail, there's a cipher in it. 2 people so far have solved that cipher and followed the instructions. Phase 2 of Grand Adventure Chaseopoly starts January 1. So you guys can get caught up.
Oh, you gotta love
for
Redneck
sure.
Express. He's like, why not all of them? I vote all.
Why not all of them? That's right. So there's only going to be one winner for Grand Adventure Chaseopoly. And when that winner is, when somebody solves this thing, like I said, Phase 2 starts January 1, and you guys have no idea what Phase 2 is. Neither do they. But when there is a winner, I will announce it, and then that cipher will no longer go in the games that go out anymore. It's just a fun thing to do. But the winner is going to get a copy of all 3 books and a Too Far to Walk benchmark map.
2 trips, you're allowed to say what you just did. Flipside does have some old videos back up, which we were excited to see that was happening. So
we hope Sean comes back and starts doing the after party.
You don't have to retract. You're allowed to say that here.
You talk about anybody you want.
How far is Parade Rest from Bullwinkles? Within. I drove.
Is it really? You'll say within an hour, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I would like to go check that. Curious about that cipher. I'm not okay. Laddie Addy, I'm going to give a clue on January 1. Actually, as long as I don't go out for New Year's Eve, midnight on January 1,
Who are you
December
going
31.
Out? Whoa.
I wouldn't be going out with anybody. I mean, like to play poker or something crazy. But the strip is so crazy, I can't get out there anyway. I will give a clue about the cipher. The cipher is not that hard, everybody. People, I think, are overthinking it.
What marathon?
What did I say?
Prize possession. No, people are saying what marathon because they weren't here earlier.
January, when is it, 11th? When is the holiday? Holiday on one of those weekends. Not that it matters. January 11th, we're going to do the 12-hour Forrest Fenn chat marathon, everybody. We're going to take phone calls. We're going to have a panel. If you would like to be on the marathon, please email kpro3 at AOL.com. But we're going to take phone calls. We're going to show some new Forrest Fenn clips from the interview. It'll be a grand old time. Yeah, I get it, laddie. Until you know the key of the cipher, of course it's hard. But I will say all you need is the Chaseopoly game and the cipher. You do not need the internet to solve that cipher. You need the internet to follow the instructions in the cipher. I'll make a video just on the cipher, January 1.
Oh my gosh, it's like a dead...
Nah. Then I get to decide. Oh, not the noun, huh? Nobody cares about the noun. Okay. Nouns. All right. I would say the rental, but it's just me. Because he used a term that we would all want to talk about. That's just my opinion, though. What's your opinion? Which one do you like?
Well, because of the most prized possession, it's kind of a longer, and it's a whole story. I say we save that for the marathon.
Okay. And I think it's going to be the rental, guys. What Forrest said about if you rent a cabin, what do you own for that 24 hours? Is it mine?
Well, there's a whole...
It's a whole ownership issues is what we're trying to get at.
That's what we did.
And you guys can decide for yourself.
And some of it has been heard before. He's talked about, like, who owns a sidewalk or who owns an easement or whatever. There were some pieces, though, that I had not heard before. I haven't looked at it in any excruciating detail. I know some people, there's a debate on one of the sites of, have we gotten secret information that other people haven't that is going to break it loose and now we have an advantage?
No.
This is the exact thing that happened, 7 years ago with Stephanie, 6 years ago with Dale, 5 years ago with Jenny, 4 years ago with Cynthia. No. And there's also 5 other documentaries that are going on too. So I just don't think he puts anything out there that is going to break it loose in a way that But it's informational, it's fun, but it's not enough to like, oh, you're gonna now get it all of a sudden.
Jay Minnesota says, how many phases are there? Just two. Just two for the Grand Adventure.
Oh.
And I'll send an email out to everybody who's purchased one. And I'll make a video that everybody can watch. I'll go over some of it. It's not going to be that hard. It's not going to last months and months. I don't think. We'll see. You never know. But you have time to catch up is what I'm saying. If you order the game and get the Cipher, you could do it in one day. You could sit down in an hour and figure that Cipher out. Just using the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we've been on a little over an hour. Final questions for tonight before I get on and play.
So Denise says, if the prized possession isn't a clue, in your opinion, why not share it? Well, we will. We just want to do one a day. That's all. We will. We'll share it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
or
right
is
now,
it a clue?
Well,
you might take it as
and I will go back and say this. So usually what happens, and I did not know this, and I'm getting up to date on this. What generally happens is nothing gets released at all until the documentary is released. Then the documentary has usually a couple of trailers, and then, it's actually a teaser, a trailer. A teaser is usually 15 to 30 seconds, and then a trailer is anywhere from 60 seconds to 90 seconds. That builds up for the ultimate documentary. After the documentary, if you have enough interest, you can do post reels, bloopers, those sorts of things, depending on interest. We decided to do something a little bit backwards, if you will, and we decided to do these, what we're calling teasers, to be able to gain the interest, to then be able to get the teasers that get you into the documentary. It's a little bit backwards because of what's exactly happening now. We're putting some out and everybody's so anxious, they're wanting so much more so quickly, and the documentary is not done. So we have to, the ultimate project is the documentary, but we're not even to the point of the full teasers yet and trailers yet. And so that's why we have to do this in progression. I
ain't getting a call.
Okay. Searchers, don't call right now.
Yeah.
So this is the progression of things. And now I understand a little bit more because I was told there's a risk. If you put out things for the best of intentions of getting it out there for everybody, you might gain so much momentum that we're not done with the final product and it's going to kind of overshadow it. And I said, well, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is a few people are frustrated, and they are. More people are not. But still, I don't want anybody to be frustrated. We're trying to do it with the best of intent. But that's the reason of the progress, because we have the ultimate is the documentary, and we have to progress everything back from that. And that's why it has to be a steady flow that then peaks at the documentary portion, because that's the ultimate goal for this. Because here's what I would love to see, and I'm not going to be shy about it. I don't think one documentary would be good. I think a whole series would be fantastic. Wouldn't it be awesome? Rather than coming into a chat on YouTube, you came into a TV show every week, like a Gold Rush or a Oak Island or a whatever that is. I think that would be an absolute blast. I think there's some interest. I think it's just all of a matter of getting that momentum going. So there's a method to the madness. I promise. There's not a method to audio issues.
Right. So Abord says, can you guys in a tiny hint as to whether someone actually solved the poem? A tiny little bitty hint. What did Forrest say that we released? The only way you solve the poem is if you find the treasure chest. Forrest has said nobody's found the treasure chest. So no, Abord, nobody has solved the poem. If that's what you meant, I don't know, unless you meant something else. And now Forrest has said when somebody finds it, everybody will know. So whatever that means. So no, obviously nobody has found it yet. But yeah, a couple people asked about Chaseopoly. Email chaseopoly@gmail.com for all the details. You guys order it, I get it out the very next day because I'm all caught up on.
You're bored.
What's that?
You're going to be bored unless there's lots and lots
Give me
of
something
orders.
to do, everybody. Yeah, okay.
We do not want him roaming the streets near New Year's time. Not in Vegas, guys.
Tony Russi says, I need to negotiate with you for a package price. Chaseopoly, Thrill the Chase, Too Far to Walk, and Once Upon a While. And yes, we will negotiate a price. Email me. Cowlazars@gmail.com or chaseopoly@gmail.com. Yeah, we also have the benchmark map. If you guys want to bundle things, of course we'll cut some kind of a deal.
Yeah, Doug, no calling during.
Yeah, right. Don't call.
Ah, that's funny.
Is Fenn going to see the documentary before the public? That's a good question. From Jay, Minnesota. What do we know about that? What?
Okay, you can tell he has not been in all of the pre-production meetings.
Oh yeah, that's you and Alan. I have not.
I know, and it's just funny. Yes, that has all been discussed. There is not a legal requirement, but
like courtesy, we would.
Oh, absolutely.
We would send him it before it's released. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Jack, I know your secret. You're the lead searcher. I know. Go pick it up.
We're all the lead searchers.
Go pick it up. Okay.
I'm the lead Chaseopoly.
I'm the lead. And we're
Sean Herman with the super chat. Thank you, Sean. We appreciate it. Merry Christmas, everybody.
There's no more maps. Just think. Some people have asked us.
The maps are gone. Yeah.
Any more maps? No. I own 2 of them, but they're mine.
And I got one that's framed because of Copper Dan.
That's it. And so now, just don't have that happen to you with Chaseopoly.
Yeah, right. Because once we're done, I highly doubt we're ever going to order anymore. So it is a limited edition thing. Yeah.
He's like, okay, I won't call Kpro, I'll call Mike.
Screening in Vegas or New Mexico? Well, that's a good question. I will say that whenever this thing's finally released, we'll have to have a screening at the next World Series of Fenn after it's released for everybody that shows up. But that will not be next month's World Series of Fenn, February's World Series of Fenn. Screening party would be great. Yeah, I'd love to do something.
Yeah.
And you know what me and Kpro do? We make things happen. So we would make a screening, of course.
Well, but there's also the possibility if a network picks it up and buys the rights, kind of like what Douglas was talking about.
They may own it. Yeah,
they own it, and they may change it. They may put it out right away. They may, I don't know what will happen from then. That's part of the other reason that we're wanting to get some things out to you guys. So in case it does end up being the ownership of someone else.
Because what if a searcher wanted to buy it? And what if a searcher said, I want to buy it, and once I buy it, you can never show any of it again? I mean, there's things to consider. I mean, we would say we would never do that, but never say never. Yeah. But if a company said we want to own it, but we own it, we want to buy it from you, and we own the rights, you can no longer show any more of it. You know, if we have to sign a document, we're not going to break the document. So, where is the 2020 World Series of Fenn info? That's a good question. Yeah, that's something. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I had lots of stuff happening. I will get it out before the next show.
It's only a month and a half away.
I have a flyer. I just haven't gotten it to my.
But the important part is February 15th, Saturday night, Bailey's Las Vegas Hotel Casino. $60 is the buy-in. Casino handles all that. You're not giving us any money. There's the money, which are prizes, but we're also going to give away some cool prizes of our own for the. Yeah. George Ford, thank you for the $20 super chat. We appreciate that. That helps us keep this thing rolling and doing all the crazy stuff we do. So thanks.
And we're starting to gear up for World Series of Fenn, all those extra items. So if you have an item you want to donate, or if you want to put some super chat in, we usually.
If anybody wants to donate a prize for the poker tournament, of course you would have to ship it to me because I'm here in Vegas. But yeah, of course we would.
I'm not here.
Yeah, but you will be for the World Series of Fenn.
I will be.
Who is it that we know is coming for the World Series of Fenn? Me and you.
Cynthia.
Copper Dan.
Nelica.
That's 5. Is there anybody else we know for sure?
Oh, well, I mean, of course, all the locals. Like
yeah.
If you're not there, I'll be
Czar better be there.
Czar's
still
Ramona
in Michigan,
better
I think.
be there. Kathy better be there.
Yeah.
John Bobbitt, he'll be there, I'm sure.
He'll be there. He was there last year. He'll be there again this year. And then there's some other people that are like, I'm going to do my best to make it. And, sometimes I make it, sometimes
And so what we will do starting on Monday is when I'm going to start to take RSVPs. The reason we want RSVPs...
Decal's going to be there. Hey, Decal.
Yes, he better be there. And so all I want from you is, and you could say, my name is Treasure Huntin' Henry. And you could be a woman, doesn't matter. And I just put you down because we do want to give one little gift to you or a program.
Treasure Huntin' Henry.
Treasure Huntin' Henry. And so we just want to put you on the list. Some people drop out. Some people, we just wanted to get a basic idea. We had 54 at last World Series of Fenn. So we're hoping to hit 100.
And we hope everybody who came, Stephen Barnes, you and your wife and your son better be there. We hope that everybody that was there last year is able to make it out again this year. Yeah. But, things come up. No, Sean. As far as we know, Sean Dotson, if that's who you're referring to, we have not heard that he will be at the World Series of Fenn. We'd love for him to come out, but we haven't heard.
No, I think he's saying, think it's possible to find in the snow, and ES is saying to
Sean,
gotcha.
No. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
hope I can go. We hope you can go too. Not important, for sure.
Yeah, but think about this. For those of you that have a spouse or significant other, female, that wants to be in Vegas for Valentine's Day and puts up with the treasure hunt, say, honey, I'm taking you to Vegas for Valentine's Day. And then there
and
happens
then be like,
to be...
surprise! Look, what are these
Oh my
people here?
gosh,
It's crazy.
I can't believe it.
You're right. Yeah, that you could do it. We won't bust you on that. Denise Bagley says if someone does buy the documentary and owns it, then I guess they could tweak it to be the way they want it to be, meaning edit it. Unless you include terms in the contract, I hope they tell the story you wanted to tell. That's an interesting point, and I guess we would have to work.
All of that has. This is the reason we have a professional documentarian.
You're right. He knows how to do that stuff.
All of our releases, contracts, etc., have all of those provisions. We have all of that worked out. We have lawyers involved. We have all of that that's happening. So you're exactly right, and that's where Mike's like, okay, he went, he did the legal stuff. There's so much behind it, and that's where we're working at lightning speed. But it is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. Anyway.
Captain Marvel says, honey, I'm taking you to Vegas on Valentine's Day. Hey. Valentine's Day is actually Friday, isn't it? Or Sunday? It's not the Saturday
You don't have this memorized, darling?
No, I really don't.
Okay. I was going to say, I don't know. We need to talk Copper Princess into Vegas.
Yes, she definitely needs to come. We do.
And all I will take her to the spa, me and her.
A women's thing. Yeah,
I just want a couple of hours with Copper
For all the couples that come, the women can go do things for a couple hours, and the male searchers can go do something for a couple hours. That'd be cool. And then we all meet, like at a dinner or something.
Go on, boys.
There's so many. If we just know you're coming, let us know if you're coming, then we can plan these things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
My wife's going to laugh when I tell her we're going to Vegas. That's from Sin City Searcher, who already lives here, I guess. But tell her you're going to Bally's. There's a surprise at Bally's this year.
So not important. This is a great communication question. Your question is, so basically this documentary is pending someone retrieving the chest. Where did you hear anything like that? Is that sarcasm, or I have no idea where you got that?
Because I've never seen anything the chest is going to be found this summer. You know, a lot of people will say that, but no, it absolutely is not dependent on somebody finding the chest.
When is the World Series of Fenn? February 14th, 15th weekend.
February 15th is the poker tournament, but if you guys let us know you're coming, we will do some other fun stuff.
Yeah, we're going to hit Fremont Street on Friday night. We're going to do either an escape room, or there's actually a treasure hunt, or it's a murder mystery hunt going on during the day that we might do. We'll do a couple of other little events.
We'll do a dinner, you know.
We'll do a dinner, and then
we'll meetup.
Sunday,
Chaseopoly.
There might be a late breakfast. Yeah. Some people want to do an 8 a.m. breakfast. I think 2 people showed up to it, and I don't know why. Is this only for couples? Lorraine, actually, it's the opposite. Usually there's what? We were a couple. Was there any other couples there?
I don't know. I don't think. Yeah, but Stephen Barnes and his wife. Yeah. But no, it's not just for couples. This is for searchers. And anybody can come.
Yeah.
I mean, for people to discuss the Forrest Fenn treasure hunt and have a good time. That's all we're doing.
We had Copper Dan and his dad. We had Steve Barnes and his son and his wife. We had a lot. I will say the majority. I think out of the 54, I would say at least 35 showed up by themselves. This was just that one showed up with their search partner, their best friend.
And some people were in Vegas, but they just showed up for the poker tournament and played, and that was it. In other words, they're doing their own thing in Vegas, but they showed up for the poker tournament, which took, like 3 or 4 hours? You know?
Yeah. Yeah,
so there's so many different ways you can do it. The biggest thing is just getting here. I hope Jonesy can come again. She was there. Yeah, so, all right. Whoever finds it probably shouldn't reveal the state, because you can't file a lawsuit unless you can prove to the court you were filing, in the correct venue. Well, that's kind of interesting, Joel Dunn. But again,
yeah, we'll put it everywhere. Daniel, I'll get it out. I have a flyer, and I'll actually put, here's what we did last year. Some people are on a really tight budget and need someplace for $30-$40 a night. Some people wanted to know about big suites. There's at least 5 searchers with large suites having parties in their rooms, and everywhere in between. So we will get 5 or so places right next to that are all in walking distance of the poker. A block of
rooms would be cool, but you got to tell us you're coming, guys. We have to know you're coming.
So, but I'll start taking RSVPs on Monday. We'll tell you how to do that. You send me an email. You don't have to, put any deposit or anything down. We just want to get a ballpark idea. We want to know.
You're not giving us any money. Let's be very clear.
Yeah,
you're doing your own thing. We may say, hey, there's a discount if you want to go here, but not giving us any money.
Scott Conway said my wife said we can go now.
That's awesome. Let's do it. It'll be here before we know it. It's only 6 weeks away. So
I know.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. And the Chaseopolis will be for sale. A couple people are like, can I just buy it in person? Yes. If you want to buy the game in person at the World Series of Fenn, it'll be $60.
And here's what we gave away
Cash.
last year, which was super cool
Cash.
and super fun. So we gave little poker chips away
To everybody that played, that showed up.
That was the date of the...
So we'll have something like that this year.
Something. It's something small, and then it had a little program with it. Some people, everybody signed it, but...
Copper Dan says we need to do an escape room. So yeah, maybe we will. We did one last year.
We did one last year, but we did guys versus girls, and it's okay, guys.
So what if we have a Thrill of the Chase book that everybody signs, kind of like what they did at Fembury? What if we do our own? It goes
for $12 million.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. But if we did that, I want to keep it, kind of like a yearbook. I want to keep it. So maybe we may have that there. We'll have the books for sale if anybody's interested in a book. I mean, you guys just let us know.
Maps.
We have maps. We have Chaseopolis. A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. We're at about an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh my goodness! I gotta get on a plane. Yeah. I'm going home. Aww. Thanks, Mike, for having us.
It's been a fun week, honey. Thank you for being with me for Christmas, so I wasn't alone.
Thank you, Mike, for having us. We're leaving Vegas.
When will the documentary be ready? Michelle Myers, we don't know. Hopefully next year sometime, but we can't guarantee that. It's all in progress. But well, at least we're letting these clips out. At least we're not just saying, sorry, you're not going to see nothing until the documentary comes.
Oh, Dobby, yo, happy birthday.
Hey, happy birthday. You better be here for the World Series of Fun, too.
Yes, Miss.
Nice. Okay, Monday night, 6 p.m. Kpro Cow Powwow. But it's also Kitchen Sink Monday, because on the Hint of Riches YouTube channel, we will show yet another clip.
And we're over 1,000.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. And we said which clip we're going to show? The rental? About the rental cabin. That's the one we're going to show. And he uses a term that's very interesting. You guys tune in. I promise there won't be audio issues. I promise. And,
how can you promise that?
I don't know, because I'm going to work on the soundboard all week.
Okay, then that means there's definitely...
But we didn't have one when Decal was on, so I think we're okay.
Well, then we need to have Decal on. Decal Monday.
Wow, Blue Fox says, I have found a hint that is on a map from what you have revealed so far of the clips from the doc. Seems you have not identified this important hint yet. You're right, Blue Fox, we have not. So if you want to email me.
Okay, wait. Hold on. I need to review. I have found a hint that is on a map. What you have revealed so far of the clips. Seems you have not.
So on the Hint of Riches, if you guys don't know, we uploaded a video that shows all the clips that have been released. There's no audio issues. You guys can watch them all back to back, and you can make your own decision. We called it the Forrest Fenn Douglas.
Decal's on a Monday.
Oh yeah, come on. Did he just email it? Oh, cool. Yeah. So come on, Decal. That'll be good. We never did do the Jingle Bell Rock video. We'll have to do it one of these days, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I really like the clues, how they went.
Oh, Scott's coming out.
Oh, that's right. Scott Conway.
Conway.
Cool. Spa day. So now you need to take the women to the spa. So maybe we'll get a discount. We'll try and go through Bally's and get a discount or something. But again, you got to let us know you're coming, guys.
They just upgraded my status.
Good.
So maybe I can get I don't know.
Can you zoom in? Can you zoom in on the chip? I'm assuming you mean the poker chip and not Ben's cousin chip. There we go. That was the poker chip that we passed out on last year's World Series of Fed. There it is. And then the back. It looks like a postmark, but that's actually the date that we did the World Series of Fenn last year. So maybe we'll do a different poker chip. I don't know. We'll see.
Something.
We'll have something. And we just passed those out for everybody that came.
And you got a little program that said everything that we did. And so here's the deal on the poker, because some people are like, did you take a rake or whatever?
No.
Bally's does the poker, the whole poker. They tell how much it's all legit. It's a tournament. Now, what we do is say top, first, second, third prize, however many prizes we have, that is what we do. And, somebody picked, we had a coin, we had a book, we had a bunch of different things. So if you have something, let us know.
Those chips go for $200 on eBay. Well, they're definitely limited edition, but I don't know about $200. You might be thinking of the coin. Who knows? Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you Monday. We hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. Yes. And 2020 is right around the corner. It's going to be a brand new year.
The best year.
I think so. I think for the chase and for a lot of things. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to everybody who super chatted. Please thumbs the video up and please subscribe if you're not already. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.